I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
and justice for
with
all.
liberty and justice for all. Okay.
How often do we pay in for this stamp thing?
What's that?
Us Pitney Bowes for your stamp thing, $2,000.
It's for the metering and,
Yeah, but that ain't every month, is it?
no, I don't think it's every month. I think it's, I'll have to ask. $66 is monthly, the 2,000 is just when it runs out.
Good morning, Leslie.
Good morning.
What am I supposed to do with all these?
I get enough of them. I thought you could have those.
Yeah, since they're addressed to me. Good grief, them deputies use a lot of gas.
Something must go through a lot of ammunition, $950. Ought to keep them in firepower for a while.
I came up and sat in on his interviews for a new deputy. That was pretty interesting.
You get one hired.
Yeah. Pretty nice kid.
We paid quite a bit in court appointed attorney fees.
Yeah, I was looking at those. If it's any consolation, Roger, this is criminal for this morning for court.
So he can't be in court. 9 o'clock.
9:30.
Say something about, what was that KAC that you thought would be nice?
K-Camp.
K.
I probably need to visit with Scott in regards to how exactly that transition happened, whether they were longer members, because that was the previous board that did that, and I'm not quite sure what the intent or reason was behind that, so I'll have that conversation with Scott.
It's the federal government for you. The very first thing says it's part of the Paperwork Reduction Act.
I remember that act. Minutes and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, I can read all that stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that was right.
I'm almost positive it's.
Well, that's kind of what I thought. And I think that should have been changed to
To what?
the last part of this.
We moved and seconded for the resolution and we voted it down. All no votes.
I'm glad you caught that. Moving second the resolution, then we all vote no.
That could cause some problems.
Morning.
Leslie, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
Well, it was interesting listening to Jared Moran and Rick Bellinger talk the other day. I kind of talked quite a bit with Rick Bellinger, a couple of things. One was a tax lid. He just flat told me it's here to stay. They're probably not going to mess with it. And the other one was a carnival ride amusement. He's looking at a way to try to exempt the small town home-owned. So there is still some hope. I didn't realize that there's really not that many in the state. The majority of them are in northwest Kansas. And he suggested maybe reaching out to the others and maybe coming up with a voice that could.
I think a lot of them down in the eastern part, they don't even have carnivals. They don't have them come in or anything. They just have their county fair. Then they go to the state fair where they're.
I was a little disappointed to hear. I mean, it was started talking about the tax lid, and he got kind of stoic. I mean, hey, it's here. You better figure out a way to live with it.
You guys gonna need me for anything? I'm taking off.
Doesn't look like it.
See you guys.
You gonna be back someday?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. We're gonna have to get the, I got appointment with Steve Major for vests and stuff with you guys. If you, Scott or whatever wants to tell you guys who we hired and stuff, that's fine.
They gotta sign the wage agreements.
Okay.
Did you accept that?
Mhm. So, and then Karen, I'll get with you with the new deputies. Thanks. See you.
That looks a little better.
It was just the 2 boxes it's checked, yes or no. Apparently I hit the no with the,
Well, I think these are the ones we already looked at earlier.
These are the ones that need to be signed.
Oh. Or else page.
Maybe on that. There you go.
So is that transportation, are we gonna get money every year to run that thing?
I think it runs out in 3 years.
Yeah, there's a grant, but I don't know exactly how long. I didn't do that on the other.
I glanced through it, they looked right.
How many people does it take to run dispatch?
It depends. You know, if there's nothing going on, one can do it.
Yeah.
If you get busy.
But I mean, you gotta have somebody in there at all times, 24 hours a day. I just didn't know how many people.
Oh, you
it
mean
takes
total?
Yeah, total people.
You're looking at 5 full-time.
I move we approve the payroll and accounts receivable
In the minutes from 6:30.
and the minutes from 6:30.
Second.
All those in favor of approval of the minutes from 6:30 of 17, accounts payable and payroll warrants?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all approved.
That means yes.
Pass it back down.
I thought I signed this.
You did, Roger has it.
Back page.
See if I got stickers in there.
Well, did Leslie have to sign that? I don't think she did that one, did she?
No, not the payroll.
Huge, man. They set me up in CIC, and now I can only print single size.
Single side, yeah.
We spent an hour Friday afternoon with it, they couldn't figure it out. So,
Okay, Leslie, I believe we're ready for the county attorney report.
Okay. I had a concerned citizen come into my office and talk with me in regards to the Empire Motel and the conditions of that premises. I directed them to the city attorney and the building inspector due to the concerns. I also had a concerned citizen come in regards to a road. I'll be in contact with Dave Fleming pertaining to the same. Then we've also had several inquiries in regards to wind generators being placed on private property and or wind farms. Scott sent out a blast to other county clerks to see how other counties are handling that. He's been able to get some valuable information that I need to sort through to see what process we need to go through in regards to these requests, and so I will be working on that. In regards to the tax sale, we have a parcel that is in the tax sale that is in the approach and depart zone of the airport. I've been in contact with Dave Yost. He has provided me with all of the documentation in regards to the county should own that property because of where it is at. I am exploring what we can and cannot do because that is subject to the tax sale. I want to make sure that whatever we do is within the realms of the law, obviously, but I also want it to be equitable in regards to the landowner. So I am working on that. In regards to the rest of the tax sale, we have the parcels typed, and so we just need the petition typed so that and summoned so that we can get that filed. In regards to the job description for a fire chief, I have been in contact with Sherman County, who directed me to the city of Goodland. The new city administrator was kind enough to provide me with their version because it's kind of the same situation where they have a fire chief but a volunteer department. So he has provided me a copy of their job description. They are going through a revamping of their job descriptions because it's been a while since they have done so. So I hope to be coordinating with him in regards to any changes that he sees necessary in regards to that job description. So we are working on that. In regards to the assisted living, I have been in contact with Sarah Steele pertaining to the public hearing that is scheduled for the 31st. to make sure that we have all documentation in place and opinions rendered so that we can proceed and at that hearing.
Okay. Old business?
Cody wanted me to talk to you guys about the property in Bird City that he's doing. The deed says sheriff on it right now, Cheyenne County Sheriff. And he's kind of leaving it up to you guys whether you want to leave it that way or put it in Cheyenne County.
I think it'd be appropriate to put the county's name.
I agree.
I mean, right now it's all right with Cody,
Right.
but if you ever get a sheriff, he could sell it and
I think
he didn't know that that's the way it was done until after it was already done. So.
okay. Well, if we can get that changed, that would put that back on.
Sick leave, I sent you guys an email about Janelle Bowers donating 12 hours to Lake Stafford.
And I looked that up in the handbook. It's explicit in there. I mean,
Right.
she has every right to do that. That's fine. It's pretty generous.
Yeah. Bird City Fire Department, we're back to 2 months behind on getting any bills from them. We were 3 months behind with the bills, and now we're back to 2 months behind, not getting anything from them.
And that's the reason we need to, get this countywide fire chief thing going as soon as we can. Try to eliminate some of that problem and of course the reporting to State Fire Marshal's office. Do you have any idea, are they caught up as far as the reporting goes?
I think they are. I think Cody, we were talking about that the other day, said something about that.
Well, it's been kind of nice. The lack of fires has helped probably there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not positive on that, but I think they are.
Do you have a possible timeline that we could have that job description for that countywide fire chief?
I will do my best to have it by the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I've written priority.
Well, we talked about opening that up for application from existing firemen in Cheyenne County. And yeah, I'd really like to get that going. I think that would eliminate a lot of our problems over there.
And I would agree. And so, yes, I will do everything I can to get that, something drafted so that we can proceed on that.
Okay. And the abatements.
Amanda's here to explain the abatements you guys had questions on last meeting.
What do you have questions on? I guess I don't know, I wasn't sure what your questions were, so.
Just on this one, it's just an awful big abatement, and I wondered why.
Which one? On this one? Okay, so we picked up a new building that they had put up. It's been probably 5 years now. We picked it up in 2015, so entered it in as average quality, and they came in and questioned why. It was a used building, the metal had laid on the ground for 5 years. which we didn't know picking it up, and so we changed it from an average quality to a fair, and that's the value that it dropped. I mean, it looks fairly nice, but if you look, the beams are rusted and what this? That one? And being a farm building, it's 25% assessment rate, so it's higher than residential, but.
I don't know, it's a heck of a building.
Yeah.
So the other one was just basically an error on,
Yeah, that somehow got data entered, the acreages when we were updating stuff got entered in wrong.
yeah, we could not quite figure out that big of an adjustment.
And that, like I said, it was changing it from an average to a fair because of the used metal, and it wasn't brand new, and that's normally when we pick up stuff, we put them in as average unless there's others.
And of course, those are all set up by the state, what,
It's Marshall and Swift cost values. So yeah, if you change the quality of something, it's gonna kick out a different value. That's not me pulling numbers out of the air, that's what it calculates it.
Well, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay,
It just seemed like a big abatement.
yeah.
I'm just everything I own is poor condition.
well, that's what I was just going to say. She needs to revisit my house. We're getting down to poor.
I think I did visit both of you
Wow,
this
sure
year, and you maybe last year.
Okay, do I have a motion to go ahead and approve these abatements, corrections?
I saw move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, correspondence or information?
Florence County Dental Clinic.
Yeah. This was the guy that come visit us last night.
Hot coffee dies coffee. did the work on the bathrooms?
Excuse me?
Who did the work on the bathrooms?
I can't honestly tell you, but I had an individual come to me last night and was pretty upset. His claim was that there was no bids offered for the construction of those bathrooms, and I couldn't prove or disprove that. He indicated that Fab Construction out of Atwood built it, but I'm pretty sure we had some local people out there working.
I can tell you.
I'll get in contact with the fair board and find out what exactly did occur. Do we not have anybody from Cheyenne County representing us in High Plains Mental Health? I thought we did it one time. There's nobody on there. Carol Rock on that board. And this is just for their drivers, right? That's all I can figure out is a driver paid. Can we get a hold of,
Yeah, that's who worked.
I'll tell you what, I'd really love to be able to see is run times who responded. Any way to do that?
Yeah, I think you need to request that from Cooper.
From dispatch?
Or if you want, I can.
Well, I'll talk to them.
Did you read that? Right. Carry and conceal is exempted from a mental institution. Well, that's kind of stupid, isn't it? Sure, want one of them latches on your holster, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Wage agreements for the undersheriff and the. They were both sworn in yesterday.
Okay. New deputy. You hand me that one that's under the wage agreement.
Did you read it?
Any discussion about the correspondence?
That one with the, yeah. I don't know if are we gonna support that or not?
I'm not in favor of it.
Well, I don't know that our budget will
Yeah, we
allow
wouldn't
it.
hold it
That's what
anyway.
I'm saying, we don't have the money to do it anyway.
Yeah,
Well, and he called and I said that there wasn't anything budgeted for.
right.
If he'd have got here a month or two before we done the budget, he might have had a better chance.
We have two pieces of correspondence. One from Hind Plains Mental Health is just the minutes of their board meeting. And one thing we noticed is that Cheyenne County's not represented. I did not know that. I'll have to do some checking into that. I thought Carol Rogers was on
Yeah,
that.
Carol's on there.
It's been very faithful.
Is those just the ones that were on the phones though?
Well, you know, now that I read this closer, the governing board, I wonder if that's different than their regular board.
That could be. Because Carol, she goes to them pretty
Yes,
faithfully.
that's what I thought. Well, I'll ask and we'll see. And the other was from the Rawlins County Dental Clinic, wanting to set up some services in Cheyenne County.
How old is this Gunner Elton?
I'm sorry,
How old is Gunner Elton?
I'm gonna say 21, 22, somewhere.
Somewhere there.
I was really impressed with his
Oh.
interview.
Well, I'm wondering if he won't be here for a while. He lived here all his life.
I was impressed. He has aspirations of, going on to a bigger law enforcement agency someday, but, for now,
So how long does he go to school?
he has a bachelor's degree from Fort Hays.
Well, but I mean, he's got to go to law.
Oh, yes, he
enforcement.
has to go down to Hutchinson for 14 weeks.
14 weeks.
Whenever they can get him into a class, and I haven't heard when that class will
Does
be.
Craig have to go
No,
back?
he does not. Well,
Yeah, I think he does.
I think he can go back for like a 2-week period of time to get caught up on current laws and that type of thing. It's a shorter version, because he's already, a certified law enforcement, so.
We just need a motion to approve the wage agreements.
With Craig Van
I
Allen.
move we approve the wage agreements with Craig Van Allen and Gunner Elton.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sheriff's Office has 2 new employees. They hired a deputy and an undersheriff.
Full-time?
Yes. both.
The deputy will be all in dispatch also.
Which one would be in this?
Gunner Helton,
Would be in dispatches.
dispatch and deputy. His duties will. And then Craig Van Allen will be the undersheriff of Cheyenne County.
He's gonna move his family back up there then.
I haven't talked to him. I'm assuming so. Okay, the last thing.
It's another, there's a notice of approval for the Northwest Kansas Child Advocacy that they need signed.
I'll let you read it before I sign it.
And then this is the application for emergency management performance grant. It's a $10,000 bonus that Brian receives at the end of the year. And then the county gets, I believe, $7,500. I just need your signature on the second page.
He'll probably be involved with that more than we will.
Yeah.
Is there an amount for this grant?
10,000.
That mainly goes for just staffing it, or
It's a bonus that he gets. It's a bonus that he gets at the end of the year. We can, since we're running behind, we can skip that till later.
Okay.
Yes, this is solely performance-based, and so there are certain standards that they have to meet in order to qualify for that.
Okay, I believe we're ready for the budget hearing. It's the special alcohol section.
That has something to do with you. Special alcohol.
The only thing I can think of is Thomas County ADAC. I'm not sure, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, don't know either.
Road guy's got a big budget, doesn't he?
Yeah. Any comments from the audience or input?
Just a question, is the budget set? What is your projected mill levy going forward?
It's the same where we're under tax levy.
I can't hear.
Well,
Oh, it was increased.
it was increased because of fire and sheriff and the emergency part of it.
Emergency services will increase a little bit. We're under a tax lid from the state of Kansas. The only thing that we can raise a substantial amount of taxes on is for emergency services.
Well, I understand that part.
But the rest of it remain exactly the same.
I think it's.
But you don't have a mill levy in mind?
Yeah, it
What is
was-
98 or 99?
It's just a tick over 100.
It was just a little bit over 100.
Seems like it's 109, is it?
That sounds correct.
I didn't hear how much?
109, I believe.
109?
It says 102 on this front
Is
page,
it 102?
102.627.
Okay.
So,
I'm guessing that's closer.
so is Dave right?
Dave is right, I believe. He
Well,
has,
they actually got more money because of valuation raises, so.
we'll get the right piece of paper here in just a moment. This is the official certificate that has the
I'm just
budget.
curious what it will be.
I do have some questions, if I may.
Go right ahead.
I'm just going down the list here. Election, I see it's almost doubled. Is this because of equipment?
It doubled last year. We're keeping it the same as it was last year.
Last year's 23,481, and now we're at 49.
2017 is 49. 2018, it's remaining. the
That's what I'm
same.
saying, I was going by last year. Oh, you're
Yes,
saying
it is,
double.
it is for equipment.
Okay.
The past clerk raised it for equipment, and we're keeping it the
We're
same.
staying the same way, okay. I see the county attorneys had increased a lot, and a lot of that's contractual. Can you explain that? Are we got a sub out, and I see that,
That's because when they raised Nicole, that was never put in her budget.
for salary
For
purposes?
salary, and that's corrected this time.
Okay. But the contractual increased quite a little. That's the reason I didn't know what all that entailed.
And
In regards to the contractual aspect of it, That is in regards to if there are any prosecutions that we need to get special prosecutors for. Also, in regards to certain prosecutions, there are going to be some expenses that will be had in the prosecuting of those cases, and so those funds are to be used for those purposes. I'm trying to limit as many as I can in regards to what we would call conflict cases, so that we are not dipping into that fund if we don't absolutely positively have to.
Okay. Well, I seen the judicial and the clerk of court had increased, and that's the reason I thought maybe that was all tied into criminal cases or something, so.
And I believe Natalie could probably answer that.
The judicial one went up because that's for our court-appointed attorney's fees. And with the number of cases that we're having that require court-appointed attorneys, we felt that needs to be increased.
Yeah, I think we paid out just this month, like, close to $2,000 in court of
I'm
funds.
sure we can.
Attorneys, just this month. Might be a little high, but it's darn close.
It's close.
On grant administration, I see we got a budget of $30,490, but we don't have anyone working there, or what's the plans there?
Well, let Scott answer that.
You're gonna they're gonna contract grants, so that's remained the same. Some of that's, we found out after the budget was done, that transportation wasn't funded enough, so some of that's gonna be transferred. And I've talked to John Mapes, we can do it before we certify to the state. Since it's in the general, it can be pulled out of that into transportation, but there's still gonna be funds there because we're gonna contract with people to.
Instead of having a
do
grant writer on staff within the county, we're gonna contract that grant writing out for a percentage of the grant amount.
Okay. On the courthouse general, in 16 was 105, and now we're 630. I mean, is this slush fund we're banking?
No.
It says 105, 584 in 2016, and it's gonna be 630, 876.
God, I can't remember what that was.
We moved some stuff.
But you're talking past, we're talking 2018.
That's 2018. This is 630.
But you're saying 2016 it was at that, what was it in 2017?
2017 is estimated is gonna be 605, 374.
So that remained the same as it was.
Yeah, that's the reason I was surprised the amount of increase that we had there for this year.
That would have been done last year.
It would, correct, this would have been done last year, but I'm surprised that there's still estimates that high.
We can't cut anything, Dave. If we cut anything, we lose it. We'll never get it back.
That's what I'm wondering, is this kind of a banking on slush fund setup?
No, absolutely not.
It's no slush fund. I don't know why they raised it, but why? It's remaining what it is to keep it there.
Okay.
Weren't they talking about new windows? And maybe a new boiler
Yeah,
system?
they gotta.
There was all kinds of projections.
That's
I think
what
a
I'm
year
saying.
ago, they were talking windows and a new boiler. We weren't here, but it seems like that's what they was talking about.
It's all gotta be approved by the Historical Society, and that's why it costs so much.
Okay. I think that answers mine.
Another thing too, Dave, just going back to the county attorney thing. The Attorney General's office is no longer just coming out and prosecuting cases. And so for your higher level felonies, if you're wanting to get their assistance, you have to pay for it.
Okay.
And so that is a new expense that was implemented last year when Nicole came on board. And that's why the budget was changed also, is to anticipate a possibility that there would be that case that the Attorney General's office needed to come in on, and we were going to have to contract with them for them to come in and do those cases.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
I knew it was reading more and more.
Yeah,
scares you sometimes, so.
exactly, exactly. But it's just more of a safety net, more than anything.
Okay, any other comments or
They
questions?
put us on a tax lid and then dump more on top of us.
That's how they work.
Any more discussion? Okay, need a motion to approve the certificate.
I move we approve the budget as printed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now,
Motion
you can all
carried.
tell us what you really think.
You know, a lot of the stuff that was done in years past, Dave, we're kind of like, I don't know either. But as far as creating a slush fund, I wish that was true.
Well, I guess I mistermed that as far as that goes, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're banking in case there is some problems with the courthouse and stuff like that.
No, we've got to, because there's no way to do it.
Well, and our hands are tied in a lot of this because of the tax cap. And so most everything stayed what it was
Yeah,
last year.
we kept it
from
about
last
as
year.
close to last year as we could possibly could. And if you didn't have a chance to come up and listen to Rick Billinger the other day, he was honest and open. And one of the discussions he talked about was a tax lid. And he told me that it is here to stay, that we're gonna need to learn to live with it. And that's gonna make things pretty tough, especially a couple of years down the road.
Every county around us went up mill levy a bunch a year ago. We went
Because of
down.
that
We
safety
went
net.
down.
Yeah, we actually cut the budget when most of the other counties around us were increasing their budget in anticipating this tax lid going into effect. And we unfortunately did not, so it's gonna make it tough on us.
And the answer to your question, Marlon, is 102.6 mils.
I heard, thank you.
Need all three of us here.
I think a year ago it was like 99.
98 or 99, exactly.
Yeah, and 16 was 109, and then last year was 99. Or that's this current year, so.
Natalie,
One more time.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I think Leslie emailed that we do
Yes.
not need to open the bids back up.
yes.
So I guess I just need your approval to go ahead with Nick and get a check cut today for the half down. And I wondered if we could take the 2,000 out of the diversion fund to pay that half, and the other 2774 out of Cody's fund. And then when we get the balance, we'll pay it out of my
Make up the
budget.
difference.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So
You need a motion to,
I suppose we maybe, just to be safe.
Well, might as well.
I would.
You're on
Do we have a motion to go ahead and approve for Nick Riley Construction of $4,774?
Half. That's the half.
That's the half, to go forward with the construction project in Natalie's office upstairs.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so I can just have Sharissa issue a check, or Scott. And
How soon do you need it?
today if we could, so Nick can get the doors ordered or tomorrow, this week, or something. Okay, sounds good. Okay, thank you all.
Sorry we held you up.
Nope,
Well, we just wanted to make sure it was doing the right thing.
Exactly.
And I think that was a smart move.
yep, I agree. Thank you all very much.
Well, good luck with it.
Thank you. Come check it out when you have time.
I will.
Okay.
Kelly, just in time.
Okay, Terry.
We're running just a wee bit ahead, so.
All right. Sounds good. So in our last meeting, I told you that we were going to do a mid-year cost report. And we did that mid-year cost report, and it shows that we're probably going to owe, because of overpayment by Medicare, we're going to owe about $689,000 back right now.
To Medicare.
To Medicare. So what we're going to do is we're going to book 80% of that in August. So it's going to show $551,000 that will go on the contractual line for Medicare. So, but that could change if our volumes start to drop off. So that's where we're at.
How do you incur overpayments for Medicare? I mean, how's that happen?
Well, they pay us because they pay us on last year's volume. Because they didn't have very much volume.
Right.
And so they gave them a high rate. And so the volume increases at that rate and it goes up. And so we're getting all this income off of supposedly what is supposed to be low, yet our volume is high. And so it's a constant.
So it's self-adjusting year to year, or it's supposed to be?
It's supposed to be. And so, and we did get another retro payment for that volume, but you know, that's still another 120-some thousand that was added to our bottom line. So right now, and I did bring a copy for all of you to have concerning this, so. But this will say on the front, number one, it details the $551,000 of the 80% that we will book in August. So, Scott, if you want. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So you can take a look at that, and you can see 551 is what we will book in August on the Medicare contractual line. And so what that will do, right now we have a positive of 462,356 for the year so far. But by booking that, it'll show us in the red again. Now, when we end up in the red, I don't know if we have a good, what I call a good flu season where we'll have a lot of patients. You know, by booking this now, it'll probably save us a lot of heartache a little bit later on. So
Because you can't make the projections of what's going to happen towards the end of the year.
we can. So, and I'm sure. Well, I'm not sure, but a lot of times Medicare will come back in like November, and they will have an adjustment in November on our rates. And so we'll just have to wait and see if they drop the rates, which I'm pretty sure they will. Even though we just received a letter from Medicare that put our inpatient and our swing bed rates up about another $300 a piece. So it's just, you know, playing that game with Medicare, danged if you have a lot of people and you're short if you don't. So it's just this constant juggling, and you know, we've got to find other ways to kind of balance that out. So.
I noticed on page 2, professional fees,
Yes.
almost $20,000 in contract nursing. And are you getting close to having a staff that?
We are. We've hired a few more nurses, and so we're getting closer to having just our staff instead of somebody else out there. So.
Because we're not only paying them a salary, we're also providing them with housing, correct?
Well, it's like when yes, so like when the doctors come to stay, we provide housing for the docs that come and take the place of our docs. And that's, and that's another thing. In July, we had 3 providers out. So we have one provider whose parent got sick, and so they were out for a couple weeks, and that kind of hurt us in July. So, but that's something that you just kind of
Hope it
hopefully it doesn't
stabilizes.
happen, but
Yeah.
you try to. Hopefully, it doesn't happen very often. So.
When you're ready, I have a question.
Right ahead.
I have been, this didn't involve you in any way, shape, or form. I've been told by 2 different people that at some point in time, the hospital loaned $1.2 million to the Great Plains Health Alliance out of, I think it was funded depreciation. Now, I hate downtown talk. Most of the time it's wrong. But subsequently, Great Plains did not pay it back or could not pay it back, and the hospital board made a resolution not to demand that it be paid back. So basically, I just am curious about the true facts of the matter. Was the loan made? And if so, was it lawfully made? And number 2, did the hospital board resolve to forgive the loan? And if so, was that lawful?
Well, these are all questions that we'd have to research, since we
I
weren't
understand.
on
I'm
the
just
board
curious
at that
what the
time.
facts are.
But I'm sure that between the group here, we can research that out. and
Terry,
get
that
it.
already has been researched.
Oh, there you go.
The documentation has already been provided by the hospital. There was a copy of that in the packet that I gave everyone at the last
Oh,
meeting.
yes, okay.
In regards to Mr. Radcliffe's concerns.
Yes.
Kelly, do you want to address that in regards to what happened?
Well, you probably have a little bit better. I actually don't. I remember it, but I don't know if I'm going to tell it right. So.
Well, and I didn't bring that documentation with me. Marlon, however, I would be willing to give you a copy of that. The information that you've been provided is not accurate.
Okay,
In regards to what exactly transpired. What was done was allowable. It has passed an audit, and the way in which the board handled that situation is correct. Now, there's been a lot of things that have transpired since I looked at that information, and so I can't with specificity tell you exactly what that information was, but I would be more than willing to give you a copy of that so that you can review it. But the information, oh, here we go.
Now that I remember I had it,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes, thanks. Basically, what happened is they passed a resolution, okay? And the resolution read, be it recorded and resolved that on this 28th day of April 2016 and retroactive to January 1st, 2016, the Cheyenne County Hospital Board approved to forgive any and all remaining outstanding internal borrowings by Cheyenne County Hospital general funds from the hospital funded description funds. In addition, the board resolves that any current hospital accounts funds previously identified as funded depreciation will, as of the effective date of this resolution, be identified as internally designated for capital acquisition, along with any future additions by the board or hospital for such purpose. And we also have a copy of the minutes from that meeting.
Yeah, but this is the resolution. Was
Correct.
the loan actually made?
In regards to the actual loan being made, I think that that is a misnomer in regards to what actually transpired.
Well, that's what
I
I'm
think it was
curious
more
about.
of a shifting of funds from one account to another, so as
Do you have
to,
that information? The shifting of funds?
what I
can get it
have.
at your office if you have it.
Well, what I have, Marlon, is I have the resolution and I have the minutes from the meeting as to what was transpired. We also have a copy of the auditor's report and also of the budget. So with Kelly's permission, which he's been gracious enough to give that every time. I'd be willing to give you a copy of all of this.
That's great. Does it show what happened to those funds?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Oh, that's absolutely fine. So, yeah.
All right. I'll just
So if
pick
you
it
want to
up
make
at
a
your office.
copy now, then we'll just go ahead and give Marlon a copy now.
I just hate downtown talk because it's more often wrong than right. So I was curious.
And Kelly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but something of that nature in regards to the way that Marlon has termed this occurrence could not occur.
It couldn't occur. No, you're absolutely right, Leslie. Yeah, it just couldn't happen.
It couldn't
Yeah,
happen.
Yeah, so, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Kelly, anything else?
I did have a question, Terry, about mill tax and kind of how that works, since I'm new here.
Well, you're no newer than I am, so
Okay.
we're
Okay.
gonna
Right,
refer
Scott.
this over to Scott if you can.
Who's new too?
Don't ask me. Because I'm new too.
As far, what is a mill worth, Scott? What?
40-some thousand, I don't know exactly, but it's 40-some thousand, I think, is
Last
a mill.
42 something.
2017, it was 44.
44.
Okay. Okay, all right. And then, if we were to seek an increase, how do we do that?
Here again, you're touching on things that we're not real sure of yet either with the tax
Okay.
lid situation that the state has placed on us.
Yes,
Probably you could come in and make that request
Okay.
for an increase, but if it's over a certain percentage, and I believe it's 1.2%, it has to go before a vote.
So are you talking an increase over the 6 mil?
no, I'm just hypothetically asking on how I would do, yes, if it came down to where we needed to do it. Right now, I don't think so, and then I was also wanting to know, is there a time frame in which you have to make that request? Is it, what time of year do you do that?
Probably, I would say April,
Okay,
April, May, along in there.
okay,
because today we just approved the budget, for August, and that's the deadline set by the state.
The worst of it, you wouldn't get anything for basically a year though if you go above the,
1.2%.
Above the-
above the 1.2, because it'd have to go to both.
okay, Joe, thank you. No, I was just wondering, I hope we never have to do that. I hope we can just maintain where we're at, but that's, I'm just
We're hoping to.
trying to make sure I have all my ducks in a row.
And
so.
again, if our answers are kind of vague, it's not on purpose. We truly don't understand.
But I think it'd have to go to an election to,
Anything over that 1.2%, unless it's emergency services, which they deem as the sheriff's department, EMS, dispatch, and that's about all, isn't it? Fire departments.
fire department, emergency.
Anything outside of those entities has to go before a public vote
Okay,
to be approved.
okay.
And the sooner you could get that request to us, probably the better, because I'm sure there'll be a ton of debate. And
I might be wrong, but I don't think they can go over the 6 mils, not even the 1.2. It's 6 mils is what
well,
the people voted.
I have a resolution that says they are eligible for 12.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've forgotten that the vote was
I actually have
12
that at
mills.
home.
It's for 12 mils, and they've been getting 6.
But I think it was for possible 12 mills. The hospital's been taking 6 for a number of years. As I said, please double check me, but that's what I recall.
And I've read that. I actually possess that
I think it's
resolution.
up to 12.
And it says up
It's up
to
to 12, okay. So, what did we budget?
6,
We budgeted 6.
yes.
Possibly, once again, I'm not sure. Commissioners can increase it.
Well, not any longer, not without a vote.
Not any longer, but, okay.
I'll find that resolution.
Okay,
and
all right,
I'll
yeah.
share it with you.
All right, that sounds good to me. So, any questions for me today? Okay.
I don't think so.
Well, everybody, thank you for your time. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Marlon, if you ever have any questions, stop by and see me. So,
Good. Thank
okay,
you.
all right, yes. Have a good day.
Eddie, don't sit down.
Next up. Don't even want to, we should have been here before this.
Go ahead, Ed.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Did you approve those two bills that I put in? Very good. I guess all I want to know is whether those funds were transferred from 225 to account 150. Yeah, we talked about it last meeting, and you were going to do it by this meeting.
What were the numbers?
From 225 into 150. The amount was 264,951.
Show it there. What's got it?
Okay. And next meeting, our attorney, Sarah Steele from Wichita, will be here. She got a bunch of papers that need gone through and signed, and she will be here to explain all that. So any questions on that, load up and ask her.
I better start writing it down now.
She sent out quite a few pages of stuff to go through, but so anyway, so that's all I have. As soon as we verify that those funds have been moved. They started the asbestos abatement in the west wing yesterday.
How's that going?
Well, I haven't been there since noon yesterday, so I don't know.
Shoot the gun with her here a little bit. and
Okay.
Make a motion. She thought it was supposed to be done the 31st.
Well, that's fine. I mean, there'll just be a lot of other stuff, 31st, but.
It's up to you.
Well, I told her she's looking for him and she'll be able to.
Good. Well, I know there was some concern with disrupting the patients and everything else. But
Well, it's their home, you know, and, so yeah, we've had multiple meetings with the staff and, you know, and the first day, like 2 weeks ago, when they started doing some things, why not everybody was on the same page, so we had a quick meeting with the staff and everybody, and so I think things are going, good morning, Dolores.
Good morning.
Morning, Dolores.
So I think, I mean, there's going to be problems, I know there is, but we've talked about them for 16 or 18 months, but when it actually starts to happen,
Okay, so you had a question about the transfers that we were gonna do the motion for last time, and
Yeah.
we decided to wait. I went ahead and got a hold of the auditors, and John replied back that he would suggest taking it from the bond fund back to the general, and then from the general down to the, so I went ahead and created the transfer forms, but I still need you guys to make a motion to do that, so.
And I hate to interrupt, but it's Cheyenne County Motion Day, so I have to go to court.
Oh, okay. We'll call you if we need something.
I'll just be right upstairs.
I put August 31st on there because that's when I planned to come in, but we can change that. That's not a big deal. So that would be the first one, and this would
Okay.
be the second one.
So I need a motion to go ahead and approve the transfer of funds from account 150 HFA bond to 001 county general. For a total of
It's up above.
$264,951.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and the second one is a transfer of funds from the 001 County General to 225 HFA Capital Improvement.
Nope, got her in the general, that's where I want her. Get her right there.
Okay,
They're making plans for a Christmas party.
All right, we haven't had one of those in years.
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, both.
Used to be steak at Big Ed's, but
Now, you can't do hamburgers at McDonald's, so.
Problem with Robert's Rules Orders, you're gonna have to restate all that
Thank
you just said.
and sign it.
So that's all I have. If there's any questions, well, I'll try to answer them now, but save some for Sarah Steele at the next meeting.
Okay. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, Eddie,
Okay.
that stands out anyway.
Yeah, very good, thank you.
So then, once you get then you start on the new apartments, or the
They've
new,
got to do some remodeling in that west wing. And then they'll put in a temporary hallway between that area, so try to keep it connected as long as possible. At some point, there'll be an issue there, but they will start with the new construction on the long-term care.
Long-term care.
And that, they'll do that concrete work and stuff kind of together in the framing when the crews are here. So those two things will kind of happen simultaneously to save time. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. All right, let's take a 5-minute break, if that's okay with everybody.
You don't take a break?
not very often.
You're tough.
I've sat in a tractor too many years. Hate to get out.
But I still have to take breaks off of that thing.
Yeah, and I should take more breaks than I do.
You know, out there where I farm, this has quit, but years ago, the Air Force had a training route, came right over my place. Usually it was B-52s, but once in a while it was a fighter, and once in a while it was a B-1, if you know what that one is. So, I still had an open tractor. They'd buzz me. Most of the time they'd scare the heck out of me. But one time, I was heading north, and here came this B-52, and he changed course just a little bit, so he came right over me. And then what I'm leading up to, last year I'm planting wheat, going from west to east, and all of a sudden this huge shadow came right over me. I had a cab, and I ducked. I thought, what the heck? And it was a helicopter buzzed me. He couldn't have been over 50 feet high.
Hey, young man.
Yes, you're younger than I am. What are you talking about? Why aren't you out there spraying?
We're a little wet. We're a little saturated, huh?
I'm gonna charge you.
Have a problem, so
New batteries.
I think we do.
we'll see. I don't think it rained. Have you been out?
I was out yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
And,
I don't think it rained last night.
I left some tracks out there.
Oh, you worked
Mhm.
yesterday? Okay. Hope he doesn't get mad about
No,
that.
I asked him, so.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, maybe we solved it without anybody getting hurt.
We appreciate your
Yep,
cooperation.
yep, thank you,
I
Marlon.
appreciate yours.
Roger, you gonna turn the sprinklers off for a while? Or are you down there getting on the alfalfa?
Well, swapped the alfalfa down Saturday of the fair. And I think I've had between 4 and 5 inches of rain on it. Decided to get a rake to rake it so I could get it baled. Went and got a rake, it wouldn't work. Found another rake, went up and got it. I was coming home with it on the highway. I lost blew a tire out. When I got stopped and got in the ditch, I lost rim, hub, the whole gosh darn thing, and I still haven't found it. I don't know where it went.
I was supposed to rake evidently, yeah.
I'm losing another day, I reckon. Getting kind of blue out there now.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. And Dave, I think you're next.
Okay, I'll have DJ go first. I'd like to leave.
Is Leslie still here?
Be back in some minute.
Well written.
Yeah, with the fall spraying coming up, I'd like for you guys to approve to me to increase the number on there I've asked per hour. And by sending this out to the landowners, it would help me to coordinate, to use the best efforts in the best places I can, so I know who's working on theirs, who I have to organize to get done for, set up for our spraying it.
So these are the letters you're gonna send out to those property owners that you've either noticed it or somebody else has complained?
Yes.
And the reason we're hurrying on this, because Grace put a deadline on us when this needs to be done.
Yeah, I have to have everything turned in to him, if they're using him, or I'm using him, by October 9th.
That'll be here before we know.
What are you charging now?
30.
How much resistance can we anticipate over this? Any? Some?
Well, some, but I'm hoping that like they understand that we're all wanting to work together. But they got to know that I'm willing to say, hey, we'll start the enforcement process if nothing is done again. Because there, like I said, there was probably 2,500 acres last year that nobody touched.
And it all hits in a short period. We just can't be enough of us to get it all done.
Yep.
You know, it ain't gonna make any difference how much you charge people. It caused you problems last year's gonna do the same thing this
Yeah.
year.
Okay, it says on here we'll start at $100 per day fine, does that go up over time?
No.
Or is that acreage? How's that set?
No, that is set per property, per landowner. They say if you have 4 sections, that is, each section could be charged $100 per day, up to $1,500. And then after that, if nothing has been done, that's when my department comes in, and we take care of the problem regardless, whatever the cost is, and there's a 10% penalty added to that.
And that's all under statute, right?
That is, yep.
Okay.
And that's why the statute's in putting it on there.
And as far as the noxious weeds, the bindweed, I still think it's a long-term problem, but it isn't near as erratic as this musk thistle. That's the one that's getting away from us, so.
Yeah, it blows in the wind, but nothing
Yep.
else.
As far as bindweed, our county's a hell of a lot better than any of the others I've been
I
in.
agree.
I agree. Because I've been through Rollins County lately, and our right-of-ways and roads are looking incredibly well.
And we get a lot of good cooperation with landowners on
Yeah.
bindweed, letting us know and taking care of it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of a lot of this. It's just, I know it's law, but this musk thistle is bad. You guys, you go out and you spend hours and hours. If you don't believe me, go to John Keller's, and we sprayed and sprayed and sprayed out there. Crap, you can see it all over. And I guess what I'm getting concerned about is, I know how hard it is to make a living right now, at ranching or farming, and you want us to go out and spray the whole river bottom with aerial spray, and we'll still won't stop it. I know we gotta work at it, and we are trying to work at it, but I don't like this. I don't like it at all. And that's my attitude.
Well, what else can we do?
Yeah, well, it puts me in a hard
I
position
know
too,
you
Roger.
What's that?
It puts me in a hard position too.
I know it does, but just keep it going the way we've been going.
Roger, I have a neighbor that wasn't controlling his bindweed, and it was a constant problem for me, creeping over to what I do.
I agree.
It's a difficult problem, but it hurts other people. in the neighborhood.
I'm not worried about the bindweed, it's this musk thistle deal.
Oh, okay.
That musk thistle, I mean, we've got it, no, I shouldn't even, we got 1,500 acres, and we got it all over, it's everywhere.
I know
And we've
nothing about
sprayed and sprayed, and when the county come in and sprayed, they've been out everywhere. And I can take you down any county road and you can look out and there's more musk thistle. And it is not going, we just gotta keep working at it, but trying to find somebody $100 a day, I just don't like it. And that's my attitude, because there are people that aren't working at it, I know, but I could work at it and you could come in and say, if you didn't do a very good job, we're gonna fine you $100 a day. And then we're gonna have you spray, and what are they charging to spray from air right now?
13, 15 acre.
13,
But
15
that's
acre.
that's with our cost share that we've already paid
And
on
I
top of
guarantee
that.
we'd have to spray 1,000 acres down there if we wanted to control it. And one guy across the fence misses 3 of them. We got the same problem in 3 years. I agree, I know what we've got. But I don't know how you're gonna control it, but geez, it's a bad problem, I agree.
Cherry Creek has had a severe problem, and they've been pretty consistent on doing some, spraying the spots or wherever, maybe every other year or something like that, and has improved a whole lot as far as that goes. There's some scattered ones that we wasn't aware of, but they're getting it under control.
Yeah.
And our next problem is we don't know who's doing what, and we got to get some coordination in here. And the $100 fine would have to be those that aren't doing anything.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely nothing. That after warning letters and asking them But I have made calls to some landowners, and they've just flat out told me they ain't doing nothing, hung up, and I've not heard nothing from them. And it is by statute that I need to be able to enforce and make them control something.
I can see both sides of this, but I don't know anything either, so.
I can too, but
I mean, is this $100 fine at your discretion?
Yeah, it is at my discretion. If the worst comes to worst, that's what it can come down to.
But
So this
it's
is more
not
of a-
mandatory.
No.
this is more of a threat than,
Yeah, just
Then
to
a
get it out,
money-making-
let them think, hey, if I haven't been taking care of it, I maybe need to start taking care of it.
well, not coming from a farming background, I'm kind of, not sure what to do here.
I mean, I don't like it, but I don't wanna get no damn letter either.
Mm-hmm.
What's the state's recourse? I mean, do they have any authority over us if we don't?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah, Kansas Department of Agriculture can come step right over the top of us and they can fine our county.
See, and that's what I'm afraid of. I don't want to get to that point.
But they've been fighting this on eastern Kansas way longer than we have.
What would you suggest I do to help the landowner to help me? Because I cannot cover every square inch, and in the last 3 weeks when I've been running around working and catching up our right-of-ways, I have noticed hundreds of acres that have nothing, they're just standing there. It's fully seeded out, and it's everywhere. It's in places I didn't even know we had it.
And we may have a landowner that call and say, you know, can we coordinate the aerial spraying or something like that? And we said, yes, we can do that. And he said, I don't want to report my neighbors, but would you also check it? We didn't even know they had a problem there. So, and it wasn't a very big area, but if we don't get on it, we need to do it.
If you don't, then it is a big area.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't really mind the wording in the letter, because it should get their attention. But I think you're gonna have to use some real discretion before you start fining somebody $100 a day.
That's good to where I'm at on that.
And if it does come down to that, I would bring the paperwork to you to maybe let you help me decide if that's what it comes to. Is there a problem with that?
Well, I'll have the county attorney call them and explain it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they know they're actually violating the state law, they might want to do something there. But yeah,
But I just want to loosen our liability in this thing too. I'd hate to say the state of Kansas come out and say, all right, you guys aren't doing anything, so we're gonna fine you X amount of dollars.
It's showing up in stubble fields now.
Because we are one of 3 counties that does private lands in the state of Kansas. Most generally down south and west to here, they do right-of-ways only, and if it is on private lands, they contact the private landowner, and if they won't do anything, they just go to immediate enforcement.
And the other problem is you also have a lot of CRP landowners, not even around here, don't even have it.
Yeah,
We need to know what the communication is here.
well, a lot of them ain't gonna check it for 4 or 5 years unless they're forced to mow it or something, then they will go look at it.
No.
And of course, that's in their CRP contract also, it says.
Correct, and they have to,
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm not opposed to the letter, or sending a letter of this type to a landowner to notify him that, hey, you got a problem and we've noticed it. I just really would use a lot of discretion before I started this $100 per day fine. What do you think, Roger?
Yeah, I have no problem, but, you know, a neighbor can complain that you got it, and it can come from any direction.
Well, yeah.
In the wind. I mean,
Yeah, complaints between neighbors can grow into feuds and.
yeah,
will. We all know that could happen too.
Bindweed creeps. Takes
Yeah.
a long time in to get you.
Yeah, the bindweed Canada thistle takes a lot of time to spread. But as in a general letter, I gotta use noxious weeds instead of just trying to single out a specific plant because there's a list of 14 species.
I'm gonna go ahead and authorize him to use this letter to notify landowners, or you got a different approach or idea?
I'd use this as a last resort. I'd talk to him, call him on the phone first, if you can.
Okay.
I mean, if I refuse, you don't really have any choice, but.
What do you do
The
with
reason I
downstate?
encourage the letter thing, when we start doing prairie dog enforcement, you can talk to them, yeah, we'll take care of it. But when you send a letter, they'll know what's going on, and then they need a response back, and if they don't, we send a certified letter. Then we know we got a connection and what's going on.
Because that's why we've had no problems fighting with the prairie dogs, because I don't mess around. That enforcement letter goes out almost immediately, and then they will contact me to take care of it. But as it still is at my discretion to enforce upon it.
I think the letter is gonna work well. It'll create some trouble, there's no doubt about
Yes.
that. But we're still gonna improve our communication rate and find out what's going on. That's what we need.
Do I hear a motion to go ahead and approve the use of this?
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Same sign?
I assume Karen wanted a letter too.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, why don't you spend a little time with Karen? You can't make this article in the paper.
Yeah,
Less
just,
threatening.
yes.
To write it this week, but I'll try and get something written.
Okay.
For
Okay.
next week and next week. Is that okay?
We don't want to make it appear like we're holding a big hammer over anybody's head, but
No.
Just want people to know.
Then about the ever-growing problem and how we can work together to correct the situations.
okay, Dave.
Okay. Oh, what you done?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought somebody else would be on agenda. I'll go get my stuff done.
Unless you guys want to hear about the fall tree project going on.
The what?
My continual of the South Fork River Restoration Project.
How's it going?
It is been going good. We did the one property of John Keller, and we have the remaining money because we ran out of time to complete the project at the time. But I still have until August 5th of 2018 to use up the remainder of the money, and I have another 5 properties that will cover that here before probably March of 2018. I'm going to use the same contractors, so we don't have to change any of the contracts and anything we have going on that we previously worked upon.
Are you getting positive feedback from the
I
landowners?
am. There's been a lot of people out to look at the one area we have done, and they're pretty impressed, and they would like to continue that. But I will have to be writing for another grant, and I'd like to try to do a Dane G. Hansen grant, so I don't have to have the $1-to-1 dollar match, where I could have a little less backing and put out a little less input from the department.
What's the timeline on that?
Well, yeah.
October
Well, I
19th.
was talking about the Dane G. Hansen.
It's monthly.
Yeah, before the end of every month, I believe. Correct. But on the NACA grant, I believe we have until October 19th.
Somewhere out
Yeah.
in my head.
And I got Kevin Clegg, the wildlife biologist out of Colby. He is helping work to put matching funds together, which would be the same that happened last year.
Okay. All right.
Oh, thank you, man.
Must have to buy a lot of tires.
What's that?
You must have to buy some big tires.
We bought some, but not a huge amount. Why?
Well, I just seen you spent $5,000 on tires. I thought maybe you'd buy a big one.
Repeat
It
that?
says tires and gas in the tire.
Yeah, we filled a 2,000 gallon of gas over here, so it had been just a couple tires, probably all there.
More gas than tire.
Yeah. Okay, we got one tractor in the shop at John Deere right now, getting repaired. Final drive bearings are bad, and also pinion bearings. They're estimating 6,000 to 7,000 on it. So I assume we need to go ahead with that one. Another Ford tractor, we're thinking it's got a broken shift fork, and it's in Yoast right now. So. Grader blades, we're just about out of them. I need permission to get bids on them. I generally get like 16 of them, so I got 4 sets of them. So this is for the carbide blades. So on we talked about a little bit getting an excavator thumb. I do have a price from one company. For 72 inch is roughly 6,000 and probably closer to 7,000 for the 84 inch. This is the fixed one. You know, when I talked to you before, this was the hydraulic one. I don't know that it justified going to the hydraulic one. If we did the fixed one, it'd be on the Komatsu. We're having trouble with wiring harness, so I want to make sure we get that all corrected before we order this. And I need Foley also to bid, and I would take the lowest bid that would do the thumb, so.
Well, even the stationary one that isn't hydraulic's gonna do you some good.
Yeah, that's what they said. And a lot of times the hydraulic actually pinches more and you'll break up more stuff, so. So that's what we're looking at on that one.
I'll make a motion to approve Dave to accept bids for 2 projects.
That's all move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I don't remember if I told you guys or not. The sheriff building in Birch City, I could not burn it. Even if I took the shingles off, they wouldn't allow me to burn it. Did I tell you this? Oh,
Well, I knew this, I'm sorry.
okay.
Go ahead.
So I did get permission. They would allow us to bury it at the Birch City landfill, the old landfill. I think that'd save the life of ours, and so I just the council said, yeah, that's fine, as long as you take care of things the way KDHE needed, so I'll probably gotta pursue that route.
I agree
So-
with that.
You remember where the old pits are out there?
No, I don't. Doug probably does, cause he was on help there. Huh?
Come and get me, I'll show you where the road.
You know, all right, that's good.
Yeah, you don't remember I had to go bury them.
I could tell a little bit by looking at the soil ties, but yeah, I remember it scattered quite a little, so.
Barnard might remember, because I think he run the dozer out there, didn't he?
Doug ran the dozer and did it, yeah.
He might remember where the old, if you can take where that old road was, it should be fine.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised Kelly was in on that too, so. All right, the next thing was, we applied for a waste tire grant through the Greater Northwest Kansas, up to $10,000, and we was awarded that. We're trying to get a bunch of these tires cleaned up in the county. I should probably put in all of it, but this is the letter that they would have to sign off on. I don't know whether you want to read that out loud, you want me to, or whatever. My concern is, a $10,000 grant, how we're gonna limit it to make it fair for everyone. Now, Ed was involved with this earlier. 17 years ago, this is the way KDHE did it, and it was a waste tire, equivalent, what they called it. So if you had a tractor tire, there's that little square box up there. So if you had a tractor tire, it was equivalent to 18 car tires, you know what I'm getting after? That was equivalent, so. My thought would probably
Before
put.
They just brought them in and we had to deal with them, but, I mean, all I had to do is keep records and then.
Yeah, but before, you had to have an estimate of people that had tires, and I don't know whether you was on then at that time or not. We had to get an estimate of, people that had them, and whether it was pre-law or after law or something like that, because currently, see, whenever you buy a new tire, you're taxed so much for a disposal fee. So, but it seemed like we're getting more scattered throughout the country, and excuse me.
Well, I think one of our giant big piles is gone, isn't it?
The giant what?
Down there where Sowers was at, Steve had big piles out there, but I think they burned that fire, didn't they?
It does kind of seem right, yeah.
That was the biggest pile I know of that wasn't taken care of, so. We shouldn't have too big a problem, let's go around, I wouldn't think.
Well, I hope not, but then, did you see and Byron's looking into a different company, look at the price of your tractor tires though. I mean, right west of Wheeler, there's probably 10 of them sitting there, that adds up pretty fast.
What company is this?
Champion, Resource Management. And Byron's looking at this double D matting. They may be interested. And they'll be cheaper, but they can't have any cord showing at all. So.
Did you get a price from Champlin?
I think they're close to it, but this was more of a reliable one. It's the reason we stayed with them. So we're gonna have to juggle this a little bit. They'll pay for advertising cost and then the cost of disposal of the tires. So.
You're gonna have them all hauled off rather than try to bury them on site?
Yes, yes. So I'll get with Byron. I know the regulations, they wanted us to advertise it like 6 weeks in advance. Originally, I was hoping just a couple of weeks and do it September 1st through the 16th. I want to include 2 Saturdays, but I might have to back that up a little further so we get some more ads out there and let some more people know about it, so.
Is the landfill gonna be your collection point?
Yes.
What are you charging now for a tractor tire when it comes in?
That's it.
This is what you're charging?
Yep. And they have to be dismounted. So.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, we'll
So
proceed.
you're gonna take up to $10,000 worth of tires.
Yes. You know, I'm getting after, it's hard to estimate how many's out there and how much is gonna come in to be fair with everyone. So my thought is we need to limit to so much, And then if we don't reach that point, we'll, have those that had more stuff, and maybe we can go ahead and bring them in if we still have grant dollars available. So, okay. Two applications, I'll let you guys look at these for the mechanic, and then we'll go into executive session.
When are you gonna start turning that building in Bird City down, do you know?
I hope to within a month, but man, these rains and behind on mowing. I kinda need to catch up.
Almost run up in that building.
I wouldn't be surprised. I was over there last night to look into some of that.
I stood there in the door and watched it, and I'm like, it's gonna wash that building away yet, but it didn't do it.
All to do is fill the basement probably, make it more miserable for us.
Yeah, I thought for a while, if it wasn't hailing and I had a boat, I could've went boating down Main Street.
Yeah. Sounded like there was some hail a couple miles south though.
There was a lot of hail there in town, but most of it was just little, there was a few of them big ones. Nothing real major.
And that's the one here. As far as education goes, here graduated, didn't, but he didn't go on to say whether he had a GED or not. That's a requirement for the position, is it not?
The front page might say it. At the very bottom, it seemed like, no, okay.
Do you do a background, so to say, or do you call?
I called the employer on this one.
Because there's a lot of skills here that a guy needs to have.
Where'd this guy come from? I'm guessing Nebraska, says he worked for Frenchman Bounty, so.
Yeah, could be. I really don't know that. Give her a couple pieces of paper left.
Is there a weather forecast again for today, or?
Might see rain, still possibility of rain.
Possible rain tomorrow.
You guys can have the rain today, I
Day
don't
two.
need
You'll let us take a break for a day or two?
How much did we get?
There wasn't hardly anything in my ring gauge, but I couldn't hardly believe it. I mean, as hard as it rained, there was only about 23 or 400s in my ring gauge.
Mine's 650.
Not much mine either, just a little over 4 inches.
Well, I tell you what, if it had kept it up there for much longer, we'd have got that. It was pouring for a while.
Well, my TV quit, you know, damn satellite conked out, so I go ahead and I get in the computer.
Well, I'm about ready to walk away from our alfalfa.
That's
what Cale said.
God dang, what a mess. I've never had that kind of mess in my day.
Because it's just enough to keep you out of there every time, isn't it?
Over 4 inches in a week.
Yeah, you guys got a bigger rain down there
Yeah,
the other day.
swapped it down on Saturday afternoon. Sunday night, got inch 85. And then we got 30 hundredths, and then we got 40 or 50 hundredths, then we got an inch 6, and then we got 70 hundredths, and then we had a rain again last night out there. Not much, but
Probably growing up around it now.
oh yeah. Another week we won't be able to worry about it. The wind will be gone.
Roger, I don't know anything about musk thistle. I don't even know what it looks like. But bindweed is so easy. If you see a little spot and spray it,
Oh,
most
yeah.
of the time you get it the first try.
Oh, it's easy, yeah, compared to musk. Musk will just be here and here and here.
But the neighbor I mentioned has let it go for 60, 70 years, I think.
Yeah.
And that's tough when that happens.
The worst of it is down in that river bottom, down trees. Can't get around to spray
Oh,
it,
yeah.
you can't.
Bindweed or musk or both?
Musk.
Musk.
Well, I ain't even sure aerial spraying gets all that because the trees catch half of it.
Yeah, you gotta wait till the leaves come off and, I mean, aerial is for a big area.
Okay, do you need executive session?
Yes.
Okay.
We go into executive session for 10 minutes.
For personnel, non-elected personnel.
Non-elected personnel.
We'll get each other. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dave.
A story on your tires.
Okay, I'll try to get you something around it. All right, yeah. Well, we got to do a lot of advertising, a lot of planning yet to see what we can do. It looks like it'll be close to October now. Yeah.